Hey everyone, thanks for joining into this episode of Keep Kansas Home. My name's Rick Cluse and I'm here with a special guest today who's actually my son, Nathaniel. Good to have you with us here today, Nate.
Thanks for having me. It's definitely different being up here. I'm normally the one cutting the shots in the back, so.
Yeah, and I want to just say that we couldn't be here today without Nate. He helped us for, a little over 7 years at WIBW when we had our previous broadcast, and gleaned so much there and brought it here.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of learning there, and just through all that, I was able to put this together. It took some time, but here we are now. So.
Yeah, and so what it brings to the campaign, just a big thank you. But we've been working together for quite some time and started a nonprofit a little over 8 years ago. And so, Nate, why don't you talk about that? Because you've been instrumental along the way there.
Yeah, well, we started out, I remember as a kid, we were doing food drives and clothing drives, and then it kind of birthed into a nonprofit. It was definitely, when you told us you were wanting to start a nonprofit, we all thought you were a little crazy, but you know, here we are, 8.5 years later, it's still growing strong, and actually my brothers are leading it up, so.
Yeah, and it's just amazing because all of us working together like this, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing. You know, when I made the decision a little over a year ago with my family to run for governor, as Nate had mentioned, I didn't know at that time as an independent, you actually had to pick your lieutenant governor beforehand because that individual had to be on the petition. So we had to gather over 5,000 signatures. And so I made the decision then, and it was a hard decision. I was kind of going back and forth, should it be an older person or a younger person? And I just decided, well, if there's anybody that knows my heart and has worked with me so well, it was you, Nate, and I asked you to be my lieutenant back then.
Yeah, and for me, the role of the lieutenant governor is to assist the governor, so I feel like, first of all, I've done that my whole life serving you, so if you were to get in, it wouldn't be anything new for me. But I'm just looking to continue my public service too, just always being in community service from the store and all of the food drives and stuff we've done. I just want to continue doing that. I have a heart for people just like you do. And now, transitioning into this, it's definitely been a learning process. I've never been in politics, but I'm willing to give my go at it. So.
Yeah, none of us. And I know I was a little concerned, like I said, when I decided to choose a young person, how that would, you know, I guess go over with all the people. And since then, what has happened?
Yeah, well, when I was collecting signatures, because we have to collect 5,000 signatures, when we were doing that, I would knock on the door, and I just remember that I was thinking, man, I'm too young, and I just remember thinking, don't ask about the lieutenant governor. Please do not ask about the lieutenant governor. But you know, halfway through, we started getting teenagers running, and by the time we were at 6, I was like, wow, I feel plenty old enough, you know? So at least I can vote for myself.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, incidentally, we were just at a convention for what was it called? The Kansas News Press Association.
Yeah.
And one of the young people there that's running for governor, he talked about the disconnect, and so I don't know. I guess it just kind of solidified this whole past year that, you know, even though you're 24, so many young people are concerned for the direction of our state.
Yeah.
And I really felt like, wow, this is just confirming to me, and it should to the people out there, that the young people's voice needs to be heard.
Yeah, you know, they expressed concern at this event that there was a disconnect between them and the government, and that there's not transparency anymore, and the parties aren't working together, and they all felt like they could bring something to the table. And you know, that's awesome that they're stepping up. It takes a lot of, you know, it takes a lot of risk to do that, and that's why, I mean, I'm doing it because I think politics can be done much better, the same as all them. They think it can be done better, and it can be the truth, and that's why we're running as an independent, so you can be bipartisan towards the parties and work together with the parties. And you know, that's one thing that I value about you. You respect people where they're at. You don't treat people different just because they hold different values. But
Right.
it goes a long ways. If you respect someone, they're going to give you respect back. And that's what kind of leadership we need in this next election. If we're going to keep our young people here staying in Kansas, because right now we have good colleges, and we got people coming in, but as soon as they graduate they're on their way out. And I think a major part of that is because our politics, it's ugly here in Kansas right now, and at a national level. And that's why I think independent is the way to go right now, because we got to remember, we got to work together. It's not about just throwing the party system out, because they've been here 150 years. We can't just do that. We got to work with what we got, but we need somebody who can work with that, and I believe you have the leadership to do that.
Well, and that's what I want to do. I want to truly represent the people of Kansas above a party. But like you said, Nate, being bipartisan, and then also including our young people, trying to connect them to the decisions and the policies that we make, so they feel like they have a future. I mean, that is one of our platforms, Keeping Kansas Home, that we touched on. So young people want to stay here after they graduate. And that's one of the things, too, I thought about. I'd like to see a committee, should I become governor, I'd like to have a committee of young people, and that's something that you could share that would entail listening to them. And I call it the fields of influence. There's like 7 major areas that affect our lives. And when you think of business, when you think of media and arts, family, obviously education's a huge one for everybody. And then government and religion as well. So all these are important aspects about the future of Kansans. And we just want to see a better Kansas. And to do that, it's going to take everybody, like you're saying, working together, but also hearing the hearts of our young people.
Yeah, we definitely have to start connecting with the young people and getting them more involved. One of the kids there brought up that the legislature is, putting an age requirement now on for government. They were pretty heated about that, but because they do want to get involved. And now at this type of level, I don't know. That's probably too young. I think they're right in doing that, but at the same time, we shouldn't keep them totally out. I think of the store. When we think of the store, it's a lot of its success hinges on young people, my brother and I helping start it. We have we see things totally different than you. And
well, and you guys were able to bring it to a whole nother level. I mean, when Penny and I were there, and we still kind of oversee things, but we went in the last year and a half from like 20 employees to over 30 employees. And I mean, it just keeps growing. And it's because you guys got fresh, innovative, creative ideas that sometimes us older folks get stuck in the mud. Your mother and I were talking about here the other day, just the age bracket in the House and Senate alone. It just seems like it's a lot of old people. So young people want to know that their voice is being heard. And we need to make sure that we keep doing that we're aware of their needs and the things that are important to them. And so, Nate, that really sums it up. The last thing I want to just mention in closing is that there are other father and son tickets that are out there, and it's not like this is the first one here in Kansas and other states. And so I value my son and his work ethic, and the fact that he is a bright young man, and he really will do his best serving Kansans as well. And so, Nate, I want to say thank you, and I appreciate the fact that you accepted that offer, and we're working together, because here, at the end of the day, together we can build a better Kansas. Together we can be successful, and together we can win. And so thank you for joining in to Keep Kansas Home, and we'll be back here again soon.